Whoa, 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 yeah, I know what I did by titling the video this, but, shout out clickbait one time, because I also don't believe that. I just feel like every video I've watched on Anthem is just shitting on it because it's Destiny 2 with jetpacks. I mean, but where's the lie? And honestly, I do hate that trend where a game comes out and somebody goes, hey, this is just, like that other game over there, but with this game-changing mechanic, or whatever you want to say it is. And I am very well aware that when a new IP or a new game comes out, the easiest way for you to decide whether or not you should even give it your attention is by comparing it to something similar, right? Like, oh, if I liked Destiny, maybe I will like Anthem, or vice versa. So, without further ado, here's my little summary on my time playing Anthem. I played about 5 hours of the game during the VIP weekend, which was more than enough to do all the content they had on the beta, and enough to give me a general feeling for how I like the game. Alright, step one here, I want to talk about it. It is like Destiny, and that's fine. I don't understand why people feel the need to like defend a game as the only type of game that can exist in that genre, right? You don't see people being like, well, honestly, League of Legends, actually, that's a terrible example. Everybody's like, burn League of Legends to the ground, but like, Dota came first, right? So by that logic, I mean, we should delete League of Legends. That should never have happened. Like Vainglory, all that stuff. Dawngate, Here's the Storm. None of those should be able to come out because, you know, Dota's the one true MOBA. And same with this. Like Destiny, a lot of people are really passionate about it. And they're like, Destiny's the one true MMO, FPS, RPG, open but not open world. You know what I'm saying? And I hate that mentality because, like, when you think about it, Destiny's just Borderlands in space. You know? I mean, I guess Borderlands also in space, but point is, every game can always be compared to another one, and I hate it when the discussion stops there. Yes, this game is incredibly similar to Destiny, and I think that's fine. I do. And I also think that now that we've got that out of the way, I'm comfortable saying this game can be great. It's not great right now. It's not great on the build that I played, which, well, Jericho, that build is 6 weeks old. Why would you do a beta with a 6-week-old build? I don't know. I'm not in game dev, but like that seems weird. And the beta was really janky. So I can only go off of what I have played and what you've played and what we've all seen. I can't give my opinion on something that's not out, right? I can't give my opinion on a build of a game that doesn't exist and nobody's played yet. So my opinion here is this game can be great. I have a lot of things that I really enjoyed, a lot of things that I did not like, and some worries that I've got that I'm going to break down for you guys. But the biggest thing for me was that, you know, a lot of the issues I had on this beta were optimization and connectivity based, which is very thankfully a relatively simple thing to fix in the grand scheme of going gold with your game, right? We're not talking about like incredibly large map-changing, you know, things that need to happen in the next 6 weeks where they have to go and rebuild an entire portion of the world or fundamentally change the core mechanics of the game. No, it's just netcode and everything that every other video game struggles with on launch, which is just the internet. So I'm not too worried about optimization and all that stuff. I am pretty happy with the way the game looks. I'm really happy with the way the game feels. I mean, it truly is a beautiful game in a lot of aspects. I mean, it's kind of like pick and choose where you're looking, right? Like when you're standing in water, it looks great. When you're running around, and then sometimes you'll look over at a rock and it looks like PS2 graphics have just been plastered over there. And then other times you're walking around, you're like, man, does the moss need to be that HD? Like, I wouldn't have noticed that if I wasn't running around. So, I really do like the way this game looks and it feels. The movement system is great. I love the mobility you have. It feels like, I almost want to say Warframe-esque. It feels like, you know, I have a lot more verticality. Obviously, you have a jetpack with a, or I don't want to call it a jetpack, but yeah, a jetpack with fuel, etc. There's 3D motion. You know, you can move in all different axes, and I like that. I do. I just think that the mechanics for it aren't great. So what do I mean by that? I think that flying is meant for controllers. Like, it just is. The whole mimicking a joystick with your keyboard and mouse has never worked. It never will work, and it always feels like shit. It just does. Okay, it does. Flying with the key or the arrow keys is way better. If you never tried that out during the next beta, definitely give it a go. But swimming is fucking atrocious. I am so close to saying if they don't change the swimming in this game, I just won't fucking play it. I don't know how else to explain it. It's just really disorienting and incredibly difficult to get yourself anywhere underwater with the way that swimming and flying works. I know people are going to be like, you're just being melodramatic, but flying is not nearly as bad as swimming. It was miserable. I hated it. So they can change all those things relatively easy. If they just make it easier for you to control yourself in the water and, you know, kind of reduce the mouse acceleration type flying shit and swimming shit, I might be happy here. The movement's great, and that's really a big bonus for me, because when you first get on a game, you want to feel like you're connected to the character. You want to feel like you have all these tools at your disposal. You don't want to relearn an entire system, and it's very intuitive. It looks cool. It feels pretty dope. So I'm happy with it. It's a good engine. It feels like. Kind of reminds me like when I first played Titanfall. I was like, damn, this game feels smooth, and I can see all the stupid, crazy shit I can do with this, and then they just didn't build out a good game around Titanfall. This is the first one I'm talking about, and so I stopped playing it. Game engine is half the battle. Game is the other half, and in shooters, it's really important that they, you know, flesh out the story as well as the engine. So, I mean, I like the idea that you have multiple characters. In Destiny, one of my biggest gripes was like, great, we're gonna start from scratch just because I want to have a slightly different play style with a different, with like a warlock instead of a hunter or a titan. This one, you don't necessarily start from the beginning, but your characters don't have things that carry over from one to the other, right? So, besides weapons, as far as I know, weapons do carry over. I'm talking about like all your class-specific items; those don't carry over. But I like the idea that you can just go, all right, well, I had a lot of fun playing, you know, as a low shield, high mobility character here. I'm gonna just switch it up and become a tank now. Right? Like, that's nice. It feels a lot less permanent. You yourself, like, are the character, and your suits are just suits, versus, like, you and your character are one, and if you want to change it up, you have to make a new one. So, 2 thumbs up from that. I like it. There's 4 javelins, and I'm assuming that they're going to probably add more as the game goes on. I like that variety, the idea behind it. So, pretty positive overall from that. And the building that you can do in each specific for each specific javelin, the playstyles that they offer is really nice. Like, you can notice a very large change when you go for like a melee-centric build versus, I said melee, a melee-centric build versus you know, going for something like high shield or high assault rifle with damage output. So those things, especially for people that are into metagaming, great, cool, you're gonna like it. What are my dislikes besides the controls? The map, I don't know if this is the map period, or if this is one of the maps, or whatever, but it's too small. It's too small, and it's devoid of life. When I'm flying around, like, I really do need to feel as if there's life at every turn, that there's things coexisting everywhere, that I could run into, you know, very passive life forms as well as very aggro ones, but really, it's fucking empty. Like, we're talking a minute flying between fights here, and a minute flying is like a third of the map. I know that there's enough there that you can shoot enough things, but like all of the random roaming shit, I never once, even on hard difficulty, felt like my life was in danger playing alone in free roam. And that's not great. There weren't enough varieties of units. Like, there's only a couple flying type units. I understand this is a beta and they're not showing us everything they've got, but like when you have such aggressive 3-dimension movement, is this the right word? When you can go in all different areas and on all the axes, it's way too easy to get separation and distance and remove yourself from the threat and heal. I don't like feeling like there's always an out. Sometimes I want to be backed into a corner and say, oh shit, I have to fight or else I'm gonna die. Like, there's no other options. So I never really felt at danger. And like even the raid that they had, we played it on hard, and we beat it first try, and we only had 2 members go down once. So it's like there's definitely scalability that needs to exist, and I know that I saw there was like 4 more tiers down the list, so above hard. So I'm really hopeful for that, and I'm glad that they had those in the beta to show us, because otherwise I'd just be complaining about it. But we never got to experience it, so I'm hoping they unlock it for the next beta so we can see just how miserable it can get. I think that their cryptic hints for all this stuff in the game are obnoxious. Like, if you're gonna do a good puzzle, the puzzle needs to have good hints, right? Like, the puzzle that they gave us in the beta had like lit up glowing symbols underneath the bridge for no reason. I would much rather have like a cryptic, physical, like something that shows you, hey, oh, that looks like a puzzle, you know, clue. I got to figure it out versus like a hide and go seek for something obvious. Does that make sense? I'd rather figure something out slowly with and like be led to the answer slowly, but obviously, than I would just randomly stumble upon something that's 100% true. Like, oh, it's purple. That must mean it's purple. Why is that underneath the bridge hidden though? That makes no sense. So that's my complaint on there. I also hope that we have more weapon variety. It looks like we're gonna have pretty Borderlands-esque, like, here's 8 different types of weapons, and each one of them is slightly different, but they all look the same. Kind of hoping we have a lot more than that. Who knows? Destiny got it right. They have a really good diversity of weapons that all perform similarly, but they look different, and they have different feels and personalities and characteristics. I'd like for them to focus on that. And I am worried about, like, the grinding on this game, because you can put grinding behind paywalls and then incentivize microtransactions, and that to me is a major worry. I don't want to. I want to avoid playing any games that are going to say, hey, you can skip 10 hours of playing and grinding if you just spend $100. Like, that to me is not the sign of a good game, and I'm worried about that because it means that it will definitely cull the herd, and it'll get all the super serious players out of the game, and it will keep just the diehards in there and those that spent a lot of money, and that doesn't make for a really healthy player base. So fingers crossed they don't run it into the ground with microtransactions, but you know what? We can't really do anything about that. Content and raids and PvP balance, it's going to be difficult to balance across PvP and PvE, but Destiny has done a pretty good job with it, so hopefully Anthem can do the same. And then also, like, the gems, materials harvesting, you know, all that shit. I just never felt rewarded by Destiny's version of that, right? Like, seeing a colorful gem drop on the ground wasn't as exciting as seeing, like, a physical weapon. I remember in Borderlands, you know, when you kill somebody, they just explode with physical weapons, and you'd see them all there on the ground, and you might spy out of the corner of your eye one that's, you know, gold, and it's the sniper that you want, and you run over, and it's there. And it's cool. I like dropping physical items, not like weird gems and matte parts. So that's what I would like to see change. But I didn't realize I'd talk for 12 minutes and still have a plenty more to talk about with Anthem. I think the bottom line here is this game has potential. I am excited. I don't think Microsoft wants this IP to fail. I do think they're going to listen to the community. I know that they understand they're competing with Destiny in the Destiny space. I don't think that the game is great right now. I do think it can be great, and I'm very hopeful that on launch it'll be a bit more polished. But for me, I don't think I'm going to play it very much after the initial launch because it is very much a group game, a community game, and I play too many games to grind one game so I can be, like, you know, the best at it. So it's going to be one of those games that if you enjoy grinding, you're going to love it. And if you enjoy Destiny, I bet you're going to like it too. But I think it looks gorgeous, and I'm glad that they are entering the gaming space and hopefully going to push Destiny to be a better game as well as Destiny pushes Anthem to be a better game. Thank you guys for watching. My name is Jericho, and if you enjoyed or have your own comments, let me know in the description below. Otherwise, I'll talk to you all later.